Hello and welcome to ITENERT. Today's video is about free SHS in Ghana. If you support free SHS as all time's best policy in Ghana, like the video and let us hear you in the comment box below. Let's start with brief history about free senior high school in Ghana.
The first time free senior high school became the topic for discussion in Ghana was in 2008. In the 2008 manifesto of the new Patriotic Party, the then candidate Nana Akufo-Addo promised the implementation of free universal secondary education by making secondary education free for every Ghanaian child, in line with the Constitution. Article 25(1)(b) of the 1992 Constitution states that secondary education in its different forms including technical and vocational education, shall be made generally available and accessible to all by every appropriate means, and in particular, by the progressive introduction of free education. Goal 4, Target 1 of the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, also states that by 2030, all boys and girls complete free, equitable and quality primary and secondary education leading to relevant and effective learning outcomes. The 2008 manifesto stated that if the NPP is maintained in 2008 election, they will guaranteed access for all children of school-going age to free quality education. During that period it was only available at the basic school level. They promised to extend to cover senior high school education as well. Most Ghanaians did not believe and said it was impossible for Ghana to make senior high school free. The then candidate Akuffo Addo lost the election. In the 2012 election also, free secondary education was one of the discussion in Ghana that time. Many Ghanaians asked whether the free SHS policy is possible to implement, sustainable, and what will be the source of funding for such policy. The two major political parties in the country, the New Patriotic Party, NPP, and the National Democratic Congress, NDC, shared their stance on the policy. The ruling party at the time was the NDC and their leader was the then incumbent president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. The NDC stated in their 2012 manifesto that, the 1992 Constitution does not make second cycle education part of the basic school system and is therefore not required to be made free immediately. On the contrary, it clusters secondary, vocational, and technical education together as secondary education and provides that there shall be progressive introduction of free education at that level, Article 25(1)(b). They continued that, our program for the progressive introduction of free secondary education will continue with the system of free tuition for all students, which has been the norm since independence. NDC said it was impossible to introduce free SHS policy and it can only be done progressively as indicated in the Constitution. The then President John Dramani Mahama explained their approach to the basic and secondary education during the 2012 IEA debate.
Yeah, thank you very much. That is exactly the point I was making. Our vision for education is in our Constitution. And so our work is cut out for us. As president, you must comply with the Constitution. And the Constitution says within 10 years, basic education must be free, compulsory, and universal. That is a given. And so we all must work to achieve that. Senior high school must be made progressively free and accessible on an equal and equitable balance. And so that is the vision for this country. It's not a single person's vision. Nobody should attempt to steal the vision of the Constitution drafters. The point here is that of the 100% of children who start primary school, they come out at P6, 93.7% of them complete primary school. 66% continue into JHS and complete JHS. Now, only 34% continue into senior high school. And so there definitely is a problem with equity of access and quality. At the junior level, let me tell you something. Parents have supposedly free public schools to send their children. But most parents will tell you that they pay more to send their children to quality private schools in order to guarantee that they can progress to the next level. And so we're saying that free is not just the issue. The issue is about quality. At the secondary level, public schools are still preferred over private schools because we are paying fees. and the schools are able to use the fees to keep the schools running. If you say you're going to take it away in the manner that is being suggested, I'm saying that we can take fees away in a certain manner that guarantees that quality is not affected. Free secondary high school must be implemented based on the proper roadmap and not just on the campaign promise of somebody who wants to get elected as president. That should be the basis. There have been examples of it in Africa, and I could name countries. And there are reports that have appraised the implementation of free secondary school in those countries that show that they are fraught with problems because they were made on the whimsical promise of a politician.
The then opposition party, the NPP, stated clearly in the 2012 manifesto that our education is in crisis. Out of 100 of our children that start kindergarten, only 71 end up in primary school, only 65 will go up to junior high school. Out of that, only 35 progress to senior high school and only 3 will end up in university. University admissions have been growing at about 10% per annum over the last decade, but there is the need for more tertiary institutions to accommodate the growing demand. They concluded that many of our children fall out at all stages because they cannot afford. They further stated that in order to address the problem of high dropout rates at the primary and secondary levels, basic education will be redefined as from kindergarten up to and including SHS. The NPP further stated in their manifesto what they mean by free universal secondary education. We are fully committed to making secondary education free for every Ghanaian child. By free we mean free tuition, admission, textbook, library, science center, computer, examination, utilities, boarding and meals. They also indicated that although the cost of free secondary education will be high, at an additional 1% of Ghana's total income, the alternative of a largely uneducated and unskilled workforce is a situation Ghana cannot afford. So the NPP will prioritize and fund this expenditure budgetary resources, including resources from oil exports, in the interest of the long-term growth of Ghana's economy. The then candidate Akuffo Addo assured Ghanaians that he will deliver free quality education to Ghanaians.
All across the country, in every hamlet, village, town, and city that I have visited, Ghanaians have embraced my policy of free quality secondary education. I believe that for our country to be transformed and for us to compete favorably in this global economy, we need to make educating our youth our number one priority. This is my priority and my promise, and I'm not going to turn back on it. On December 7th, I humbly ask for your vote so that together and with the help of the Almighty, we will deliver free quality SHS and move Ghana forward.
Ghanaians and the press started questioning the NPP about the cost and the source of funding for the free secondary school policy if voted into power in the 2012 election. The then candidate's Akuffo Addo answered same question on BBC's Hard Talk.
To give what the Ghanaian people, it seems to me from reading a lot of stuff in the Ghanaian press, want to know is where exactly is the money going to come from next time around if you're in power for some of the very extravagant promises you've made. You, for example, have offered free secondary schooling for all Ghanaians, a promise you say you absolutely will deliver in 4 years in power. So have you costed it? How much will it cost?
The costing is being done. I mean, very, very soon we will be in a position.
You can't make a promise like that.
No. Very soon we're going to be putting it out.
You don't know how much.
I do know how much, but I prefer to tell the Ghanaian people directly before I tell you.
Many of them can't talk. You can tell me, and
it doesn't matter. I would prefer to make that statement to the people of Ghana directly first, as to the cost and any time.
So you do know the cost?
Oh, we do, and we have a very good idea how also we're going to finance it.
Well, you're obviously not going to give me the figures, but just tell me how you're going to pay for it. Because it's clearly going to be a very great cost. You've got to train the teachers, you've got to build new schools.
All of that has been adequately costed, and we believe that, first of all, the new revenues will help, more efficient management of what we have now, growth in the Ghanaian economy. These are the three sources which are going to enable us to fulfill that promise. And it's a promise that has been solemnly made to the Ghanaian people, and it's going to be solemnly kept. Not because it's a campaign promise, but because it is a necessity for the future of our country to educate all our young people and not to acquiesce in a situation whereby only segments of the community that have some money are able to educate their children.
It's an interesting
point. It's
a
major issue of human capital development.
Indeed.
And if we do not make the effort to achieve that, the development paradigm that we want to achieve is going to be very difficult for us to do.
Ghanaians voted against the then opposition party the NPP and maintained the incumbent party NDC in office. The NPP challenged the election results in the Supreme Court of Ghana, which was ruled in favor of John Dramani Mahama, the then president of Ghana. The NPP was in opposition for another 4 years.
Progressively free SHS. In the NPP's time in opposition, the Mahama administration in 2014 started what it called progressive introduction of free secondary education after consultations with stakeholders. This brand of free education was to start primarily with only day students. The progressive free secondary education absorbed examination, entertainment, library, SRC, sports, culture, science development, science and mathematics quiz, ICT and curricular fees. The Ministry of Education indicated that these interventions almost doubled SHS enrollment from 393,995 in 2008 to 787,861 in 2016 academic year.
In 2016 election, the NPP maintained their manifesto promise of the free SHS. The National Democratic Congress, NDC, promised to expand the progressively free SHS program to cover boarding students with emphasis on the needy students. The NDC lost the election and the candidate of the NPP Nana Akuffo Addo was elected president on his third attempt. Akufo-Addo sworn in as president on 7 December 2017 as President of the Republic of Ghana.
Now let's look at enrollment before free SHS in 2017. Records have it that in 2013, out of 352,202 students that were placed in senior high schools by the Computerized School Selection and Placement System, CSSPS, 90,604 could not enroll, and in 2014, out of 386,412 students, 113,260 could not enroll. In 2015, 115,363 out of 415,012 students could not enroll, while 111,336 of the 420,135 students failed to enroll in 2016. The belief has been that this trend happened because most of the parents and guardians did not have the money to get their children and wards enrolled in the schools.
It is clear from the presentation that most students are placed into various senior high schools but could not enroll due to financial challenges. Now let's look at the free SHS policy in Ghana and see whether it has addressed the challenges or not. When Nana Akufo-Addo was sworn in as the President of Ghana on January 7, 2017, 1 month later, President Akufo-Addo assured that his government will fully implement the free senior high school policy from September 2017. The President gave the assurance while delivering a speech as the special guest of honor at the 60th anniversary celebration of Okwapi Man School in the Eastern Region on Saturday, February 11, 2017. According to him, the implementation of the policy will cover the full fees of students who attend public senior high schools in the country. Akufo-Addo said, government will fund the cost of public senior high schools for all those who qualify for entry from the 2017-2018 academic year onwards, so that no one in Ghana is left in any doubts. By free SHS, we mean that, in addition to tuition which is already free, there will be no admission fees, no library fees, no science center fees, no computer lab fees, no examination fees, no utility fees, there will be free textbooks, free boarding and free meals, and day students will get a meal at school for free. He further stated that, the free SHS will also cover agricultural, vocational, and technical institutions at the high school level. I also want to state clearly again that we have a well thought out plan that involves the building of new public senior high schools and cluster public senior high schools. Many Ghanaians said it was too early for him to implement the free SHS and advised the government to do broader consultations before the implementation of the free SHS. The free SHS policy was launched on September 13, 2017 to coincide with reopening of senior high schools for the 2017-2018 academic year by His Excellency the President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo Addo.
High School. We have the indefatigable MP here, Honorable Boniface Abubakar, who also the Minister of State in charge of.
This morning we are gathered here in the name of arguably the most exciting, most far-reaching, and most revolutionary policy in a generation in this country. And I'm honored to stand before you to perform a role in this lunch. 6 decades ago, this country attained formal independence. The nation's founders believed in her destiny and set her on the path of progress and prosperity. Today, we take an important step on that journey. From today onwards, no child will ever be denied senior high school education simply because his or her family is unable to afford it. This is what the free SHS policy is about.
Today is a very happy day for the good people of Ghana, for the government, and for me personally. I'm here this morning to perform a very pleasant task, to launch the commencement of the free senior high school policy. When I proposed this policy in 2008, many were those who said free SHS could not be done. The idea was ridiculed and was described by propagandists as a vote-buying gimmick, even though ironically, it did not win me that election. I was labeled a liar by my opponents, who went on to state that free SHS could only be possible in 20 years' time. Nonetheless, the Ghanaian people were discerning and believed it was possible. The culmination of that belief inter alia resulted in the decisive victory won by the new Patriotic Party and my mother's self in the elections of 2016. I made the pledge of providing every Ghanaian child with access to senior high school, because I know the privilege, the knowledge and talent are not for the rich and privileged alone, and that free education widens the gates of opportunities to every child, especially those whose talents are arrested because of poverty. Any country that aims to transform itself into a modern, productive player in the global marketplace must get its educational policies right. Over the last 4 years, an average of 100,000 BC graduates who are placed in our public senior high schools each year do not take up their place. This means that in the next decade, about 1 million of our young men and women would have had their education terminated at junior high school. Such a situation is totally unacceptable, and I am determined to end it. This is why my government is today beginning the implementation of the free senior high school policy. This year, the number of students who could not have access to senior high school has dropped to 36,000. Not because of the high cost of fees, but because, unfortunately, they could not attain the requisite qualification mark. The policy enables this much reduced number to reset the BEC and hopefully join the system of further education. To ensure that no child is denied access to secondary education, we are removing one of the biggest obstacles that currently stand in their way: cost. The cost of providing free secondary school education will be cheaper than the cost of the alternative of an uneducated and unskilled workforce that has the capacity to retard our development. Leadership is about choices. I have chosen to invest in the future of our youth and our country. We've decided to use the proceeds from our natural resources to help educate the population to drive our economic transformation. Instead of the revenues from our mineral and oil resources ending up in the hands of a few people, the most equitable and progressive way of using these revenues is to educate and empower our population to strengthen our nation. In so doing, we'll be on the way to achieving UN Sustainable Development Goal number 4, which calls for inclusive and equitable education and the promotion of lifelong opportunities.
The NDC minority in Parliament argue that the free SHS policy is not sustainable and will jeopardize secondary school education in Ghana. The statement was made by the minority leader of the 7th Parliament of Ghana, Honorable Haruna Idrisu.
We risk tomorrow schools being closed down because releases and financing for feeding and other related expenditure is not ready and has not been released by the Minister for Finance. That will further worsen and aggravate the situation of students and parents, and particularly the head teachers who take over the parental role at that particular time. But we know that it will happen. There will be times that, particularly when the releases at the time that they have to pay salaries, they will struggle and they will sweat. We've been there before, and the focus will be on getting salaries paid, and therefore getting these releases to get the schools function properly and effectively will become problematic for all of us. One wonders how the MPP government expects heads of schools to secure supplies for food, uniform, house clothes for boarders under the current unacceptable circumstances. So you see, senior housemasters will be in trouble, headmasters will be in trouble, and therefore to President Nana Addo Dankwa do not engage in actions and policy interventions that will destroy secondary education in Ghana. Contrary to the claims that all first-year students will benefit from the MPP's progressively free senior high school, the NDC minority can reveal today that there are 5,556 first-year students who will not be covered under the program. These 5,556 students, known as the re-engagement students, are typically students who sat for the BECE before the current year. So they have to do a reversal if they want to capture, indeed, all first years deserving of their scholarship package, their scholarship for needy students as is a package as free senior high school. So we've already indicated to you that we fear that this is not sustainable and it is not equitable, and it will jeopardize the future of secondary education.
After the launch of the free senior high school policy, students who completed their basic education certificate examination BECE, in 2017 were placed to the various public senior high school in the country. Parents sent their children to the various schools and it was free indeed. Let's listen to the comments made by the first beneficiaries of free SHS.
We came here for our registration. I went to the registration hall and they asked me to fill some forms. And I was also given the list to buy. I'm a border, so I'm a border. And my house name, Bachman, and the color of the uniform. I came here around 6 o'clock. The registration went smooth. Everything was fine. My parents were not asked to pay anything. I think it's because of the free SHS. But the woman said I should buy everything and come today. Today is a reopening day. I don't know whether I should come today or tomorrow.
Today is the opening day for free SHS. And I just enjoy it because my kid is in the free SHS. It's a marvelous to me. I think Nana Akufo-Addo, when he was just campaigning during 2016, the only thing that he just want to do for us is free SHS. He just want everyone who is capable to go to free secondary school will get a chance to go. And fortunately, my daughter got admission here, so I have to come and look for her name on the notice board. It's a marvelous, her name is included. So she's come to do general ask. Through my investigation that I've did it, they said there's no, if you enter, they just give you your particulars, then you just go away for preparation to come back to the school. So far as free SHS is coming, I have to make a preparation towards Nana Akufo-Addo. If somebody is giving you a free thing, you have to give in a little support. So I'm just giving a little support to Nana Addo so that my daughter will come to school tomorrow.
I came here around 6 o'clock and now I'm done with my forms, so I'm going to the table to take other forms. Since I came here, I haven't been asked to pay anything yet.
I'm here to take my prospectus to fill the forms. No, I've not been asked to pay anything.
My sister had admission here, so I just brought here to find out how far with everything. I learned this time is free, so we are just looking forward. Oh, well, it's exciting and it's like the economy is very hard. So if it is free, then at least the pressure will be down on our parents. At least by the end of the week, by Friday, she can come. Because today we are now going to get the prospectus and then go to buy the things for the board.
The free SHS started in 2017, the first batch of the free SHS completed in 2020. The question is the free SHS sustainable and good for Ghanaian educational system? The second part of this video is about the free SHS policy, its challenges and effects on the Ghanaian economy. It also consider how free is the free SHS. You can watch the second part of this video by clicking on the first card of this video or click on the link on top of this video. Thank you for watching this video and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more of this type of videos.